This is one I've had my eye on from the moment it arrived. Now, this I do firmly believe could be a great contender for UK koi shows. Certainly for the baby champion and sort of smaller size ranges. This is not a fish, this will achieve nice 55, 60, maybe beyond that quite easily. It's not a fish that you'd be able to push to maybe 75 or 80 cm. Because the body at the minute is just a little bit slightly too short and too powerful when you compare it to the body line of, say, this kohaku. A little bit more length to that body.
So if you're looking for something that could potentially be baby champion, what is it that you're looking for?
It's important. You need to obviously get a lot of the elements more finished for the size that it's at. Now that's quite difficult. There's only a few fish that will be sort of ready at an early age for something like that. So this one, I'm seeing it, I mean, the qualities are there for all to be seen. Fantastic keyword that can tighten a bit. The sash is not too deep, so I believe another, I think we're at, let's have a look. So 29.5 centimetre on that one at the minute. So aiming that up to sort of like 35 cm for it to compete. I just think it's going to be an absolute winner. The sash can be refined a bit more by then. Balance of the pattern is excellent. Yeah, from the minute I saw it, it screamed koi show to me. In the right conditions, it needs to work on the shiroji, but that's easily done.
What's needing to develop there?
The white skin.
Okay.
Just pull it up. They've been fed on quite a lot of colour food, which can tint that. But
so if it's got a slightly yellow tint to it, that can drop back to white over time.
Yeah, completely. Just a conditioning thing. So. Really prominent piece, and yeah, I think it's one that would love to see a show that next season in the right hands. I think you could be onto a winner there. Last fish I want to take a look at and one to follow. This is quite an interesting one. Sorry, this Sankey. Now this it's a type of sumi I want to look at here, because if I show you these two fish. With this one here, we can see sumi sat underneath the skin in the bluey kind of texture. Now that's looking the bluey grey because that's sat underneath the skin as it stands, and it's going to come up. It comes up from deep in the skin up to the top, and then starts to form like this, where it gets shinier and glossier. That type of sumi does create, very high level. It's a lot more predictable, this sort of sumi. We can see where it is, where it's coming. It's just a matter of time to get that sumi up and finished. Now this one showing a different type of sumi, which I tend to call it, sort of Larry sumi. This sumi materializes in the top of the skin and sort of works its way downwards to form the thickness. How it appears is very randomly. So what will happen is all of a sudden you'll have an area where that's been at some point completely white, and all of a sudden we get some spots of sumi appear. Now what these two spots will eventually do is probably be gathered by other spots of sumi. You can see another one starting here just behind the gill. Eventually the spots will keep coming. We see it happening here, look, there. They'll keep coming until they actually form into the blocks of sumi that we see here.
So what sort of timescales are you thinking that will develop over?
Yeah, now that's the interesting thing. This kind of sumi actually tends, in my experience, develop a lot faster than the sumi on that fish. Because that's coming from so deep within the skin, it takes a lot more time to actually come up and become the thick glossy sumi like we see here. Whereas this one tends to come thick and fast. All of a sudden it crops up, next thing you know there's more of a block, next thing you know it's solid. So can be quite unpredictable. It's a really fascinating sumi to watch progress. But yeah, great fish. It's going to be good fun to watch this one and actually see where it ends up. I remember it from a couple of months ago when I did the last selection on the pond. Not a lot of this sumi, that sumi and all this area was there. So yeah, winter, the next sort of 3 or 4 months are going to be fascinating to see with that fish.